Hi guys, my name is Akshata and today we're going to talk about presentation aids. This is the third video in the presentation basics series. If you haven't seen the previous ones, I suggest you watch those as well. So let's start. Presentation aids are used to communicate your ideas clearly and effectively. These include PowerPoint presentations, mics, speakers, cue cards, business cards, whiteboards, projectors, laptops, etc. So, the first presentation aid I want to take up is a PPT. Naturally, the question arises, is your PPT your entire presentation? And the answer is absolutely not. Your PPT is not your entire presentation, and that is because if your entire presentation is written on the slides, then there is no point of you being present. The audience can simply read the slides. You are there to add value to your slides. So now the question arises, what do you do with your PowerPoint slides? Well, you create a mood with your PowerPoint slides and you use it exactly as it's supposed to be used, which is as an aid. It is there to support your argument through images, through videos, through infographics, and through text. Whatever it is that you need to prove your point. So let's look at images first. I want you to look at this image and think about what it makes you feel. Well, given the entire scenery and the colors, this image evokes a feeling of calm. It is fresh and serene. Compare this image with this one. This image is more serious because of the black and white. It has a sense of depth to it. Compare this with this one. The sepia filter renders this image very nostalgic. It is almost wistful. You could be talking about the 1920s when you use this image. Such is the power of images that the same image in different colors itself makes such a huge impact. So now, anytime you use images, I want you to make sure that they are relevant to your topic and its overall mood. Ideally, they should be high quality and they have to support whatever point you are trying to make. Another thing I wanted to add is that you can even add memes or funny pictures or funny slides in themselves to make your presentations more interesting and to give them character. Just make sure that they fit properly. Now let's look at videos. First and foremost, your video should not be too long. If your presentation is 10 minutes long, your video cannot be 5 minutes long. It's absurd. For most cases, this rule applies. Now I'll show you a video a friend of mine played as he was delivering a presentation on Versace.
Versace, 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 Versace.
So this is such a genius video that he chose because his presentation was about 7 to 8 minutes long and this video is some 20 seconds long and it's just so powerful. As you can see, it is so impactful. It had all of us just snap looking at him and waiting for what he had to say. Now let's discuss animation. I'm just going to let you experience this for yourself. This is terrible. You should avoid it 100%. This does not mean, however, that animation themselves are terrible. No. For example, look at this slide. You have a heading, you pose a question to the audience, everybody starts talking, they start answering, and once that is done, once the interaction comes to a halt, you can do this. It is nice, it is a good use of animation. This, however, is not that great. Yeah, I have nothing more to add to this. Just please avoid it. And if your slides look like this, God, oh God. And I do understand, that, some presentations, they are more technical and you can't really have a lot of pictures. But in that case, you must try to edit it as much as possible. Chop off all the long sentences, only have keywords so that you can elaborate upon those keywords when you're presenting. Then of course, never have this block. Never have this block. Divide it into headings, subheadings, bullet points and such. If nothing else works, take all these 7 points and fling them into 7 separate slides. That makes it look much more presentable. Moving on to cue cards. Cue cards are those cards that you would have seen in the hands of TV anchors and hosts and such. They have prompts on them. So anytime you feel like there's one particular point you forget, or one percentage, or that one number that you're constantly forgetting and that's important, you can just write it on a cue card. Your cue card is not supposed to look like this, and you're not supposed to read off your cue card. You're merely supposed to glance over it. And if you're only supposed to glance at it, but your cue card looks like this, your eye doesn't know where to rest. You do not know what the key points are. Something like this, however, very clearly puts forward your main points, the points that you keep forgetting, the percentages, the numbers, everything. Again, you can have some of the points underlined, you can have them in different colors to make them stand out even further. Another thing would be not to have your cue card as just a random piece of paper. That looks very bad. Make sure that they look something like that, which is to say that they are very uniform and very neat in their shape, their size, and their overall appearance to make them look very presentable. I am going to leave you with this last tip. Make sure that you follow the Goldilocks principle with your presentation aids, which is to say that don't use too much of it, don't use too little. Aim for the right balance. So let's just have a quick recap then. The first thing we spoke about was adding value to your slides. Your entire presentation must not be written on the slides. You are there to add value to your slides. Next, we spoke about images. We should use relevant images, preferably high quality, that prove our point. Then, we looked at videos. Our videos should also be short and to the point. Next, we looked at animations. We learned that animations must be used very carefully and very mindfully, very deliberately. Then we understood that we must keep our slides short and to the point with a clear distinction among the heading, subheadings, bullet points and such. Then we looked at what cue cards are and how to design good and effective cue cards. Finally, we understood that we must use the Goldilocks principle with our presentation aids, which is to say that we must aim for the right balance with these. In the next video, we'll take up the component of time. You can check out the presentation basics playlist for other videos in this series. And yes, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed it and that you learned something from it. If you did like it, please consider liking and also subscribing. And yes, thank you so much.